Welcome to Mundelein Minute. This is I think it's episode 74 or 75. It's up there in the corner.
If it's 75, I feel like we should do something.
Okay, then it's 74.
Okay.
And if there was already a 74, it's 74B.
We're going to have a party for 75.
Didn't we say that for 50 and failed? Yeah. So, anyways, welcome to Mundelein Minute. My name is Eric Schwenk. I'm a trustee in the Village of Mundelein.
I am Kara Lambert. I am also a trustee in the Village of Mundelein.
Yep. And This is my house, my camera. All of the equipment is mine. No taxpayer dollars in distribution or creation of the podcast.
Where's the cat?
And no cat. We actually got somebody said something about that the other day. The kitty cats got old, and now they don't care anymore. They're like, yeah, whatever. We'll see you later. Okay, so we're talking about we had two meetings on Monday. So it was Monday, February 12th. The first up was the committee of the whole, followed by a board meeting, and then executive session. So we can talk about two of those.
It was past my bedtime when we got home.
It was late. All right, so the village committee of the whole, not the village board meeting, the committee of the whole was the State of the Village address, which is a interesting time to be a trustee because you just sit there for an hour at a committee of the whole meeting.
And I'm always so nervous of like what I look like because I don't like. I'm just sitting there for an hour. It's hard for me to like maintain a straight face.
You're off camera.
Oh, that's true.
I'm not.
Yeah, but the audience was there and it was a busy audience, so I was like trying to maintain myself.
True. Okay, so I'm just gonna run through what the mayor talked about. So he always goes through 10 slides or 10 topics, his top 10, his Letterman, which
that reference is gonna
that reference. Yep. Okay, so number one was a focus on downtown.
Okay.
Then the Bank Triangle, Cortlandt Park, infrastructure projects, public art, fiscal responsibility, a new website, commission and committees, roads, and taxes. Then he talked about community development, public works and engineering, the building department, admin and IT, police department, fire department, and then on to Q&A.
But he really stressed functioning police department, functioning fire department, and public works.
Yeah.
And at a very high level, that's all municipality it really is. At a very high level.
Very high level, yeah. Yeah, that the public works, has to work.
And water should be water when you turn it on.
Yeah, he said something about it not being brown, exactly, and that when you call 911, that the services are there for you. So there was quite a bit of discussion on that. Some interesting numbers that were tossed out. That since 2015, the big funds have benefited 74 businesses. The village has spent just under $1 million, $928,000, but that has also added $7.5 million of investments.
That's insane.
It's a good amount of money that's been invested.
ROI.
Yep. That those businesses spent to increase their businesses, or not increase their business, but to better the building.
Better the business.
Better the business. There you go. Occupancy rates, industrial and commercials combined 88% occupied. That downtown is 81 and industrial is 91% throughout the village. And then, so yeah, under public works and engineering, sorry, I was taking notes throughout, so I'm looking at my phone. Great snowplow drivers that were doing mud jacking instead to level sidewalks instead of just beating them up and taking them out. And
what a great innovative thought, though.
Yep. And saving money there. LED streetlights is saving money. The building department has seen a 20% increase in permits year over year, and inspections are up 165%.
My gosh.
Yep. That we have 12 permits submitted and approved for keeping chickens. Yep.
Can I come over and see your coops, whoever that is?
And then let's see, we had we're number 29 and the safest on Neighborhood Scout. Just a lot of good information. So I'll throw a link in the comments.
It's online.
Yep, the see below. If you're watching, what's that?
Want to cover the questions?
Sure.
So I thought,
So there was a question about
is good on his feet because he.
I don't know about that. There was a question about the old Village Hall property, and I guess the golf simulator company is still interested, and if not, there's another one, which is goes into another question that came up later about what do we call that building, which I said hopefully the golf simulator building soon enough. Wirtz, that there's nothing substantial happening on the Wirtz project right now, that it's still going to be about a year before something comes in front of the village to move that on.
It'll be a bit.
Yeah. Working with Morris Station and Canadian National to do a barrier on both sides of the track.
Which is happening.
Which is happening. Yep.
There was also a question there about parking. Do you want to talk? You love parking.
I do not like parking.
You love it. But somebody was concerned about parking with those condos, apartments.
Yep.
Living spaces. And I believe Trustee Wilson and I were like talking, and I think they all have 1.5 spots because they have like a full spot that's dedicated, but then there's also guest parking.
They meet the code.
Yeah, so there's a lot of parking there that is.
And there was a question about EMS and space for the emergency vehicles. Which
Chief Lark, man of little words.
It's
fine.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Got it.
Population projection was asked. There's about 1,200 units coming to the downtown.
You know what I really wanted? I wish Steve would have thought of this, is when we were hearing the Hesner presentation, they talked about the growth of our population, and our growth of our population for almost 20 years has been flat.
Interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, Wirtz is going to be a ginormous increase, obviously.
Fair. But like from 2000 to like 2020, our population was like up 1,500 people. Like not anything substantial. And he talked about that of Fishers, Indiana, where their population, it was like over like 100,000 growth or something insane in like 20 years. So
right.
There's room to grow. I know it's a scary thing. Growth is scary. We talk about that a lot.
And then somebody asked about the Bank Triangle and putting in a 6-story building, which was part of the plan. I say that with quotes.
Concept.
And the mayor did a good job answering. I followed up. Amanda Orenchuk followed up that, density, if you're a longtime watcher of this podcast or listener, then you know that my take on density is that it increases the value per acre and creates municipality finances. It supports the finances, where a single family home does not support the finances, doesn't even pay for its own resources that are the village, the village part of it.
Yeah. Streets, infrastructure. Roads,
right. The infrastructure behind
pipes, water.
So there was a conversation about that. And I also pointed out it's a concept,
We're still looking for that
$500 million. Yeah. I think it'd be less. I've done a little pricing it out over the last 2 weeks, and I think we could probably get it done for less.
All right, get in on that. There was also a question about the schools and what impact
there was.
The growth has to the schools. And I use the word impact. And, every time there's development that's put forth before the board, there's impact fees that are collected from that development that go towards all the various taxing bodies. But majority is the school. Mr. Renchek pointed out that, was that you or her, Amanda? Pointed out that Cardinal Square has produced,
Amanda,
which is a good example of what like the other dense housing will produce, anywhere from 1 to 5 children to the schools. And in fact, like District 76 saw a decline in enrollment, and so they were excited to have more students possibly via Oak Creek. So we are aware that the schools may be impacted, but the impact by building dense housing versus building brand new subdivisions is different.
Yeah, and I think that, in a year when we start to have the Wirtz conversation,
oh my gosh, that's a different conversation.
Be a whole different conversation.
That is not the same as a Moore Street development conversation.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right, so on to the board meeting, which we started just a few minutes late because we're good at starting late after a committee of the whole. We did the approval of minutes, the attendance, everybody was present, Pledge of Allegiance, all of that. Nobody spoke during public commentary. Usually we run out of time to do Q&A during the State of the Village, so it was nice that we were able to get that in, even if we did go over, and then we didn't have the public commentary in the board meeting. You want to do the introductions, since this is the police side of it? Public safety chair. So the introductions.
What their titles are. Okay.
So we had two introductions from the police department.
Perhaps one of my favorite board meetings ever. So one of them was Seamus Kaplan being promoted to sergeant. So he got up. First of all, let me just paint this picture. The boardroom was packed, full of police. Packed.
Which is awesome. The police and fire have a tradition of coming to the board meetings whenever one of their own is being recognized. And fire even goes one above, and other area towns will come.
Yeah.
And you'll drive by Village Hall one.
And you're like, what in the world?
Yeah, right. Like the entire Plaza Circle is just fire trucks.
Yes.
And you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw me, but I like looked at Gunther and I was like, do you miss this when this was happening? Because it's such a, yeah. Anyways, it was filled with police. Okay. So you got that visual. Sergeant Kaplan comes up to take his, oath and get his badge put on. All of a sudden, all the police officers unzip a hoodie. And they all had shirts on with his face on it. It was so, and I don't think everyone noticed it at first.
Nope.
I was dying. Like, couldn't get it together. It was like, oh my god, this is so good. He didn't notice it either.
Nope.
Or if he did, he's really good.
He's
at
got
the
a really
deadpan.
good face.
Really good at that. But he like looked over and his only reaction was, "Yep."
Yeah, because the mayor pointed it out to him, after he did the
I was
oath and
dying.
all that.
Yep.
Yep.
So it was great. So congratulations to him. Also, I feel so bad for their kid. I think his daughter pinned on his badge, or his wife, or maybe they did it together. So nerve-wracking to do that. I'm always like,
oh, I know. Every time watching them.
God. So it makes me so nervous.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, then this is so cool. We had Sergeant Pagano, who is a TAC officer, come in, and he has now gotten an ITOA. I had to get that right. Master Tactical Officer award. And what a cool thing to have in town. So he is like the best of the best. He's got all the certification needed. He trains now some of our guys. He does trainings elsewhere besides our department. Like, just
And he did this on his own.
Yes. And that, you know what? That is a thing in the police department, because when we were interviewing Chief Seeley, we had found out that he had done a bunch of education, including like getting invited to these crazy conferences completely on his own.
Wow.
Yeah. You want to talk about a smart dude? That guy's smart.
He is.
He's a smart dude. So, anyways, it was a good night for police. All right. Good?
Yeah,
Anything
keep
else?
going.
All right. Public hearings, there were none. The mayor's report, we have a meeting call for another community hall meeting, which is the 26th at 6 o'clock to discuss all of our commission's annual reports. Then there was this motion to talk about the strategic plan. So it sounds like we're just giving staff blanket approval to do whatever they want after approving this. And I just want to clarify that. So the strategic plan is obviously very, very high level. Like, it's nothing that shows the tactics to implement these things.
And how did we get to it?
Oh, we had this fun Saturday morning meeting.
An 8 o'clock Saturday morning meeting at the Doubletree, which
was
was live streamed and still a public meeting. Anybody could come.
Yes.
We had one public person
We
show
did.
up.
Yep.
And so we all sat down and kind of, threw sticky notes on the board, if you will.
Yep.
And came up with ideas on what we want to accomplish in the next 3-ish years and move forward.
So those were
projects.
The long-term strategic goals were excellent services, focus on growth, and becoming an employer of choice. And literally none of the tactics were approved last night. It's just saying that we wanted to focus on those 3 things last night, Monday night, whatever day it is. So although this sounds like we're granting permission to do a whole bunch of things, it's really giving broad like goals for the next 3 years. So, anyways, I hope that helps what that means. You and I talked about it, and I was like, I just didn't like the way that motion sounded.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was being weird.
And employment was a big one that came out of it.
Woo.
That the mayor talked about it in State of the Village, that we've hired like 10 people in the past year, which is a lot for us.
Considering that we have a staff of like 198 people.
Well, now 208. Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
So we have had to add people, but when our inspections are up 165%, something has to change. You can't continue to keep up that pace with the current staffing levels, or we know that some of this growth in the downtown area is going to change the need for police and fire. Yep. So some of these services we'll have to add on to. So we look at that as part of that strategic.
But that
growth.
also kind of goes back to your density point. Like if you're creating density in the downtown, maybe you don't need to add 4 different beats for a police officer. You can handle it with,
Correct.
So, anyways, I digress. So employment was huge because everyone knows hiring people is really hard right now. And especially in the municipal sector. I mean, it's not easy to find great quality.
And stay competitive.
Yes. So that's what this is. If anybody is interested, the strategic plan is online. You can look at it. It's right here. It's this document. But there's that. We'll go along. Okay, the CBRE management agreement extension. This is the ABC building.
Yep.
It's a management company that handles the management of that building.
And this is the second extension of it.
Yes. And then we went to trustee reports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep going.
You just tell me to run the show. You're doing great.
It's usually you do it.
I know. 75 episodes in. She gets to take over now. I'll be here.
Take a snoozer. There was a negotiating team appointment, which was Trustee Meyer and Trustee Ross to the Butterfield Apartments, which are along Butterfield. Hold on. North, yes, of Allenson on the west side of the street.
Nailed it.
Yes. Got it. I'm so proud of myself right now. Then this one was so boring, and this is like this is municipal government at its finest. Mm-hmm. A plat of dedication. So there was somebody that's interested in developing a piece of land on 60, and the plat wasn't done correctly, and didn't have easements done the right way. So we just had to redo this, and
we had to restamp the stamp.
Yeah. So there's really nothing really exciting right there. Public Works, there was no. Oh wait, I have a message from Trustee Wilson. The EDC business breakfast is
the 22nd
from 7:30 to 9 a.m. I was wondering if I could read your writing, but I can't.
Good luck.
No, you're good. Public Works, there was nothing, right? Nothing.
I don't think there was.
No. Okay. And then it's you.
Oh yeah, we paid some bills.
You can talk about money.
So the first was the AT&T, the separated bills, and that was $14,126.70. And then the governing body bill approval was $1,512,449.49. Pretty much within our margin, towards the higher end of normal, but not crazy. And then the last one was financial software. So the village changed softwares. 2 or 3 years ago
2021.
now? Was it only 2021? And it is not working the way that it was anticipated and expected to work. So we're changing that up and going to BS&A. It's a financial software, and it is a pretty penny, as is any software for the municipal government sector. So that total amount is $220,580. And part of that is due at signing, part of it's through the implementation schedule, and it's going to take, because of the number of accounts and the budgeting and the finance style, it's going to take a full 12 to 18 months to do this implementation.
Do you ever check on Linda to make sure she's okay?
She's amazing. She's a rock star, and she has a great staff that work with her.
Because, yeah, the audit, and then now this.
Yeah,
and
she's great.
Poor, okay.
Okay, so back to public safety. We did dispatch service agreement between
the second time we've done this,
Mundelein and Village of Winthrop Harbor, and
so we dispatch for Winthrop Harbor, just as a consolidation of governmental services. So this is the extension agreement
with a rate increase.
Well, yeah, because we got to. Do you know how hard it is to find dispatchers?
Yeah, dispatchers is a very tough position to fill right now, so we needed to increase those rates. So nothing for building committee, transportation, infrastructure. We amended a parking ordinance. There's 2 municipal lots, one across the street from the post office building.
I know you love parking.
Also known as the golf simulator, soon to be golf simulator building, and changing the parking in front of that, and also the lot that is behind Luke's.
Yeah.
And there's been some instances where people are parking their vehicles or their landscaping trailers or whatnot in the municipal lots overnight, or longer. And like when we had the snowstorm a couple of weeks back, there was a car that sat at the Village Hall property for a week plus. So I know that there's been an issue with that. I don't like the way we did this personally. That
you love parking.
I hate parking, and parking is expensive for the municipality. It's time and concrete and asphalt and land and that sits unused the majority of the time, and the ongoing maintenance of it. Correct. So we have an opportunity here, even in our own packets from staff, it says that we are not solving the problem. So to solve the problem, I suggested charging for parking. We have an overnight parking problem, and we have an opportunity to make some money here to help solve that. So we'll see where it goes. I made a recommendation to staff, and they're going to look into it, and
We'll see.
More to come. So under other reports, Trustee Ross mentioned that early voting is now at the MHS West office, as it was put, which is also known as the church across the field behind the high school.
Tim Wilson and I were both talking about, like, we've been here long enough. The old church.
The old church. Yeah. When we were done, I was like, "You mean the old church?" She's like, "Yes." I was like, "Got it. Okay." So it's no longer at the library or the fire station for early voting.
Yes.
It will be at the West office. Okay. So Omnibus, we did a couple with Nakasa for purchase orders and payments, Office Technologies, Irma payments, and a new tornado siren. And all of those passed unanimously, 6-0 on the board there. And that was it. We went into executive session for land acquisition or sale of property in minutes. And then
we went home at some point.
We went home. I think it was like 9 o'clock or so.
It was late.
Yeah, we've been doing pretty quick board meetings, and this one did take a little bit longer than some of our last ones. Mm-hmm. Anything coming up?
Blood drive on the...
Is it this weekend?
This weekend, which is the 17th. Yes, at Fire Station 1. What else? I think that's it.
Awesome.
It's Valentine's Day today.
Valentine's Day today. Yep.
Hopefully you have that handled.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.